Alright guys, let me cut you some game. Got on my thinking cap, even if I'm wearing it indoors. And who said you cannot wear caps indoors? Does it look like I care? Oh! Alright, official intro. Hey, what's up Kaiju Pack? It's your boy Kaiju Kong, emerging from the depths of sweet solitude to bring you some more Sigma, Soul, Sustenance. So, a few video topics ago, I made a video on increasing your sexual marketplace value by viewing yourself as the product and improving yourself as the product in attracting women. But I also mentioned that I would be speaking further on about marketing and sales. And some of you have asked me, like, where are those videos? Oh, sorry guys, I had to release my other videos from the pipeline, get rid of those ones first. And then now, finally today, I'm making the video on marketing for you guys. So, here we go. But the thing is, this is where it comes in. This is where it's devious. Because not necessarily are you letting a woman, the woman that you let simp for you is not necessarily the woman that you have in mind. She's not your target. You just let the woman simp for you in order to get the target girl to be interested in you. I know it's devious and it takes a little bit of time. So here's a disclaimer. This technique works if you're in a hierarchy like school or work, but I don't recommend work. I tried it myself and it turned out, it worked, but you know, at work, they say you cannot shit where you eat. And it's true. So it takes time, this technique, because you need to build up relationships with some girls in order to get the target girl. And in the end, you don't only get the target one, you still get 4 or 3. So, you know, we're talking here about the abundance mentality, and you actually have abundance of women. So you stop caring about having to validate one woman, having to care about just one woman. You naturally spread your time amongst the women. But the thing is, here's where the Sigma male traits come in. Sigma males, we do not focus on women. And that's one thing. Even me in my life, I do not focus on the women. I focus on things that I have to do. My purpose in life, my work, my hustle, and mastering my craft. Thing is, when you do master your craft and you get good at what you're doing, your value goes up. And that's the thing with marketing, guys. It doesn't matter how valuable you think you are. Even if you think you're valuable or attractive, if the target woman does not think you're valuable or attractive, then nada. It does not matter. But if a girl sees you as a 10, then you're a 10. So it's all about perceived value, guys. Perceived value, not really how you value yourself. But you can influence a perceived value by the messages that you imply, by the energy you give out. Because if you are you look at me, like probably like good physique, right? But then you walk around all the time like this, you know, you walk around slow, looks like you lack purpose in life. The energy that you give off, the message that you imply to people around you is that you're weak, you're depressed, you're not confident. And that's the energy that they get from you, and that's how they will treat you. One of the best techniques that I learned, and it works really quickly, is that I read from somewhere, is that the best way to have a good posture is to imagine you're hanging by your teeth from a trapeze. I'm not sure if you guys know what a trapeze is. Trapeze is like those things in the circus, like the bar attached to ropes that are attached to the ceiling. So imagine that you're clinging onto that trapeze bar with your teeth like this. Like that, right? So naturally, you're just hanging from the trapeze and your body is like a hangman. And naturally, you'll see your body hangs loose like this. Your shoulders drop back, you somehow stand taller, your chest is out because you're hanging by your teeth. You're also smiling, so you walk around the room like this. But of course, guys, you don't do it like a robot like this, or else you look like a fucking Sims. So you have to add a bit of swag, a bit of gait, a bit of you in there, you know. You have to add a bit of your personality in there. I cannot walk the way you walk, you cannot walk the way I walk. So, but that's naturally the way it is. If you want to walk with confidence, imagine yourself hanging from a rope, from a trapeze, and you'll see, like, gravity pulls you down and your body naturally hangs like that. You stand taller because you're imagining yourself being dragged down by gravity, like that. You see? It works. So that's posture. That is external. So there's external value and there's internal value, and you mesh it all together like yin and yang, and that gives you, boom, a powerful perceived value. External value, posture, the way that you speak, the way that you look at people, the eye contact, the way that you wink at them, the way the way that you smile. If you smile like nervous smiles don't work. If you smile, you give a slow smile, like yeah, okay, like, you know, you're giving them. But I don't like techniques. You just build them yourself on the inside, and then the confidence will emanate from the inside out. Because if you work on techniques, guys, and if you do not build the thing on the inside, once you hang out with a girl for a longer time, all of these techniques that you learned will kind of fade, and you will go back and revert to your old ways. And then if she sees that in the end you're a beta or you're a simp, guys, it's gonna end that way. So there's external value. Posture, the way that you dress, make sure they fit. If you like baggy clothes, make sure they look good on you, and make sure that's your style. If you make sure your breath is good, all those external things. You smell good, but don't smell too good, like you walk by and people recognize, oh shit, you know, that's you. It smells like Axe. Just spray a few. I spray only like 1 or 2. My favorites are this one, Chanel Allure Homme Sport. Man, this is really good stuff. And I sprayed it. You spray some like twice or thrice on your shirt, and it stays like really, really long. And the good thing about this is it's made of tonka beans, and tonka beans are very yummy, as I was told by women. And the longer that it actually stays on you, the better it actually smells. And I love smells that develop like that. And also this one, Halloween Man. I'm not sure exactly what this is. Halloween Man, it's like purple. You can search it on the internet. The purple Halloween Man shot, or Halloween Man, whatever. It's good because it is like some of the better quality perfumes that you go out clubbing with, or you go out. It's for in the night time or for cold weather, and it's very cheap, like 30 euros for this, guys, for a perfume that smells just as good, like a copy of a better perfume that costs around twice or thrice its price. It's cool. So guys, focus on that. You have your own personal perfume, your own personal scent. But I'm not too much into the superficial. I like this. I like scents a lot. So I have like a couple. I have like these 2 more. And I have a couple, like 5 more in my wardrobe. Most of them are actually gifts from women. The ones that simped for me. Because they knew that they liked perfumes. They know that I like perfumes, and they like that I smell good. So some of them, they gifted me perfumes because they wanted me to smell the way that they preferred me to smell. And so I'm like, okay, I wore it for you, but in fact I'm wearing it because wow, it really smells good, and other women will notice me. Devious, I know, devious, very devious, but that's the way it is, guys. We are Sigmas. We play the chess game very, very well. So that's it, external value. And then internal value. So the thing is, you have to master your craft. You have to have goals. You have to have a purpose in mind. You have to have inner confidence. Every single day, you don't focus on women. You focus on what you have to do in the world to make the world a better place. And that's it. And women will pick up on that. When they know that you do not prize them as you do not prize women, but you prize your goals. When they know that you have potential for the future. Because all these guys that just focus on the women, instead of chasing the bag, when they chase the women, in the end, they're going to end up broke. But the guys who chase the bag, it shows more self-control, if you know what I mean. It shows that they're willing to put aside women for now in order to invest in their future. And those who invest in their future in the long run become better. But the thing is, I've seen a lot of guys who invested in their future thinking they're going to end up with a girl, but they end up a simp. Because they think that just because they have the money, just because they have, the wealth, the status, they can easily get women. No, it doesn't necessarily work that way, guys, because sometimes what you see in many stories nowadays is that the rich guys, the ones with status, end up to be the simps. That's why you have to always keep your frame. You have to always have the goal as a purpose. You do it for you. You do it for your purpose. You do not do it thinking that like somehow along the way you're going to get to the woman in the long term. No, guys, you don't make it complicated like that. Just focus on your purpose. Just focus on you. Women will come. Trust me, women will come. But you just focus on you. So that is internal value. And the thing is here, it also gives you leverage, because if you are busy and focused and the girl is not a priority, this is where perceived value comes in. Because the girl thinks that she is the prize, and then all of a sudden when she's hanging out with you, the way that you act, you're not validating her as much, you're not messaging her as much. You don't talk to her as sweetly as maybe the other guys do. It like you're on your purpose, you're on your grind, you're just like you have blinders like a horse like this. But you treat her well, you compliment her when she genuinely needs to be complimented and all that, but she knows that there's something different about you. You're like a real man. she will know that the power lies with you. Guys, who needs the other person more is the one who has less power in a relationship. So if you go into a relationship knowing, guys, not thinking, not believing, knowing that the woman is the one that needs you most, and you keep that in mind, and do not simp, the girl will read off from your actions because you are more aloof. You don't really give a shit. You message when you want to message her back. You call her when you want to call her back. Even on dates, you're not as simpy. It's just like that. That's why a Sigma gets a lot of women, especially powerful Sigmas, develop mature Sigmas, because we are on our grind. We're used to being alone. We're alone, but we're not lonely. Therefore, we do not necessarily need women. And women can read off of that. And so that's why our perceived value goes like through the roof, because they're seeing us like we stand out. We're different from other men. And here's a history lesson for you guys. Why do we have simps and white knights today? Because generally they were educated to be gentlemen. Why were they educated to be gentlemen? Why do they think gentlemanly values are working today? Because that's how it's portrayed in the media. And that's how it was taught to them by their parents, their mothers, the women, the older women in their lives. Why? Because it did work in the past. It did work. Gentlemen were gentlemen because they were of a high social status. They were the rich and famous. They were the ones with class. They were the ones with culture. They were the ones with money. So they were men who were taught through school, through education. They got formal education, taught them how to eat, how to dress, how to talk, how to enunciate their words, how to treat women, how to communicate with other men. And they became the so-called gentlemen. They were the men of class. But those men, they were manly men. They knew how to play sports. They knew how to change a tire from a car. They knew how to fix a car. They knew how to build a house when needed. The thing is, guys, they were men first, and then they refined themselves as good gentlemen. So they were men, and then they tamed themselves. Not like the men that we see today, not like the simps and the white knights that we see today, that are not even men, guys. They're so-called gentlemen, but all you can see is they're gentle. They're not men, because they can be pushed around. You see what I mean? So in the past, gentlemen were prized because they were the rare top percent, where the middle class didn't necessarily even exist at the time. It's either you're rich or you were poor, and the poor made up majority of the population. And so most of the men were brutish, like they were manly men, but they were brutish. They were dirty. They didn't know how to speak. They didn't know how to. So you see, they didn't have manners like the gentlemen did. So the gentlemen at the time with manners were prized. And the thing is, because the middle class rose, the middle class wanting to prove themselves, because of course, naturally, you want to keep up with the Joneses. You take education, you take manners classes, you take communication classes, and then so there was a growth in the number of gentlemen in the population. So the gentlemen became the norm, and the brutish men became probably the rarity. But of course, you cannot be a total chimpanzee and going around. You have to still be a man of class, but show a sense of, you have to stand out, which is why Sigmas stand out. We're mysterious, we're rare, we do what we want to do. We're not necessarily fucking around with society and their norms and the trends. First, you have to be a man, and then you can be a good man. You cannot be a good man, but then not be good at being a man, if you get what I mean. That's why brutes, bad boys, and these guys get the women, because they're rare. And they show real manly traits. Because most of the time, what you see with simps and good guys is that they're only good, they're only nice. And the women read off this, they're only good and they're only nice because they're using it as like a point system. They're like, okay, by 10 I love yous, or 10 times I open the door for her, she's gonna kiss me. 100 times I send her flowers, she's gonna sleep with me. It doesn't work like that, guys. Women usually forget. They're up and down, they're emotional. Sometimes, like with me, let me show you one thing, guys. Thing is, like here with marketing, if you establish yourself in, let's say, when I was in university, I had this certain, let's say, reputation as a guy of high value, not to boast, but this is just an example. And so when I went into the club and I was seeing a girl dancing, what did I do? I just danced with her. Let's say we were grinding, and then I established a sort of relationship with her. We were talking, la 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 la. And then, at the end of the night, but I didn't really find her attractive. At the end of the night, I kissed her on the lips, Then I winked, and then I left. You see? You plant a seed. And that's how it is. But the thing is, I never texted her next. I never called her anymore. I never even, when I passed by her, I just smiled, but nothing. And the thing is, what happened with this girl? She kept messaging me. She called me. She even gave me her phone because I was using an iPad at the time. I didn't like phones. So I used an iPad to communicate. She gave me her old phone in order for her to message me. Guys, devious stuff, you know. And so because she was chasing me around, this is the thing called pre-selection. When girls see that a pretty girl surrounds you, especially the more hot she is, the more it intrigues other women. And because this girl was running around and talking about me to other girls, the other girls were curious. And so it built up my reputation as that type of guy that needs to be chased by not even doing anything. I just plant the seed in one night, never call her, never message her, never na. And then in the end, she sleeps with me. And the thing is, okay, before I leave, one more thing. This is where semen retention and knowing how to control your sexual energy comes in. Or your sexual urges, which I have more or less mastered. If you master your sexual urges and you can channel it into your purpose, very good. You will know that you become even more powerful when you're able to channel your sexual energy into your work and not onto women, just like a shotgun. Thing is, the girl brought me to her room. We were dancing, and then we were talking, we kissed, we were talking, we kissed, we were talking, and she said, "It's a bit noisy here. You want to get out of here? You want to go somewhere more quiet?" Guys, I've heard this so many times. I'm like, yeah, sure. She brought me to her dorm room. We were there. We took off our clothes. We were stripping, And then I didn't have sex with her, guys. That's the honest truth. We just played around. I fooled around. Yeah, I used a little bit of hand action, but I never slept with her. And she went crazy for that. She was wondering why I did not sleep with her. And so she asked me out on a date, she asked me out she asked me out every single time she would always approach me. See guys, when you're a man of control, when you're a man of higher power, and girls see you as different because they know all guys want sex. And if they present they present themselves with open legs spread out for you, and you do not take it, but they know you're not gay, it shows something. It shows control. And especially that night when I left, I kissed her, and I said, "We should do this sometime soon." And she looked at me with the face with, "Oh." And that's the thing, guys. Like, you gotta be good with your hands as well. If you can let the girl achieve an orgasm with the hands, then you're king. But that's the thing. The guy, I can still remember the girl's face. That's marketing. I'm yapping, guys, because there's so many stories I can tell you, so many examples, so many tips, but I don't want to, it's already like past 20 minutes. I don't want to keep going on. So if you guys want me to elaborate on any of the points that I mentioned or elaborate more, please let me know and I'll make a future video. So Kaiju Kong out. Thanks for everything. Comment down below, like the video, and subscribe to the channel for the powerful Sigma males, where I teach you how to be better as a Sigma male to live your life.